right, welcome back to Slip Joint Display. Today we're looking at a Grayson Cutlery Viper in Burnt Stag. This is knife number 470116. Let's get into the model. So, Grayson Cutlery's initial release of the Vipers was in 2014. The second release was in 2016. After those two releases, it took a few years for another one to come out. And during that time period, anytime a Viper came up on the secondary market, it was a big deal. The knives from those runs were really good. They were fairly large runs, and they had a lot of diversity in the handle materials, a lot of different options, and some of them were really low numbers. I picked this up on the secondary market in probably 2017 or 2018. I'm not sure. I would think that would be right. Not only was this my first Viper, but this was my first Stag Viper as well. And by that point, I was already a nut about Stag. And I had wanted a Viper. It was a dream of mine to get one. The model was popularized by several different YouTubers, one of which was Randy Johnson, and he's the one that sticks out in my mind. His videos on slip joints, GECs in total, but especially the Viper, they're classic videos as far as I'm concerned. I watched his stuff and I wanted a Viper so bad, and when this came up and I got the chance to buy this, it was everything. The guy didn't even charge me anything. It wasn't crazy what he charged me for it. He was decent about everything and shipped it, and everything was cool with that. I got this and I was just blown away. I mean, to me, this was everything. Like I said, by that point, I was already a nut about Stag. This knife is Burnt Stag. So, yeah, standard tube, handwritten cap. So back in those days, all the caps were handwritten. Every knife that came out had a handwritten cap. And to some guys in the community, guys that were around back then, to some of them, that's a big deal, the handwritten caps. I mean, everything that you see today is printed. But back in the day, they were all handwritten. And I've talked to guys in the community who have been in the game a long time and talk about the handwritten caps and how the knives from the days with the handwritten caps were better and that kind of thing. I can dig it. That's cool. Not saying I'm with you on it. I definitely appreciate the handwritten caps, though, in that time period. As far as this knife is concerned, what you're talking about here is Burnt Stag, not Sandbar Stag. So just to take a minute and have a little bit of discussion on that, just to, share what I've read and what my understanding of the situation is. So for one thing, from what I've read, all the Stag used in knife handles these days is Sandbar Stag. But you do have different designations. So you've got genuine Stag, natural Stag, burnt Stag, second cut Stag, etc. So if it's genuine Stag, it comes into the knife makers as whole pieces of Stag, and they cut them into pieces, they split them, they shape them to the knife, attach them, polish them, buff them, and they go from there. If it's natural Stag, it comes in sections that are already cut into slabs. They shape them to the knife handle, attach them, buff them, polish them. And as far as GEC is concerned, it's my understanding that if they're doing natural Stag, they choose the very best pieces for their natural Stag knives. From what's left after the very best pieces are chosen, that's where they get the Burnt Stag from. Again, it's in pieces. They shape it to the knife, attach it, polish it, buff it, and then a final step, they scorch it with a torch to add extra color, texture, character to it. After that, you've got second cut Stag, which after the Burnt Stag pieces and the most colorful and the best pieces have been taken from the pile, they'll do what's called second cut Stag. Then after that, you've got bone Stag, which isn't even Stag. It's cattle bone, usually the shin bone, and they cut it, split it, attach it, and then they jig it or cut into it to make it look like Stag. I think sometimes they burn it or dye it to add the coloring in there. And then you've got elk Stag, which is simply antler that's shed from an elk. Apparently when they do the Burnt Stag, they just do it with a propane torch. And I've read that all the different knife companies do it the same. I don't know if that's true. That's what I've read, so that's my understanding of it. If you know otherwise, get down in the comments and share what you know. But I just wanted to, touch on that. As far as this goes, Burnt Stag, right? But just to give, a little, another example, this knife as well is an 85 from 2011, and this is Burnt Stag as well. So it's not to say that all Burnt Stag is super dark like this. I mean, I think that's just the nature of this piece. I just wanted to show that so that, it wasn't misinterpreted. I mean, if I came out here and said this was natural stag and this was burnt, everybody would run with it. Everybody would go, oh, okay. Just because this piece is lighter, but it's not the case. I mean, both of these are burnt stag. As far as this knife is concerned, yeah, Northfield trim. So mirror polished blade, cut swedge, fluted bolsters, and this beautiful stag. There's a lot happening there. It's got a lot of character in it. Man, I was blown away when I got this. A lot of detail. Even this cut down here in the stag, which I'm not sure what that's from. That's not from me. I don't know if that happened during processing at the GEC factory, or if that was something that happened to the animal and it was just in that piece of stag. But I can totally dig it. To me, that just adds cool factor. When the fella sold this to me, not only was it an introduction into Vipers, but it was also an introduction into shipping. This may have been the first knife I bought on the secondary market. I'm not sure. I mean, back in those days, knives would come out and they would sit at the dealers. There wasn't as much of a rush to buy stuff. I didn't sell out so quick. I mean, I picked up American Jacks in stag from dealers, not on the day of release, Now, the Vipers were all gone, so this forced me to go to the secondary, and this might have been the first purchase I made on the secondary. But what hit me about the whole thing was the way the guy shipped it. So he had his shipping box. This is a priority box. So from, to, and opposite of that, he had the knife in the tube in a Ziploc bag, and the whole thing taped to the inside of the box. So wouldn't move, wasn't going anywhere. And after that, he stuffed the box, wrapped it up, used excess tape on the outside, corners and everything else, and shipped it that way. But I mean, this was going nowhere. This was attached to the inside of the box. And I wasn't expecting it. I think he might have used duct tape. I mean, I got the thing and I thought, Christ, I can't even get this out. But, I did. And after the fact, I thought about it and I really appreciated the way that he was shipping the thing. That stuck with me. I mean, it stuck with me to the point where even to this day, still, if I'm shipping a knife, if I'm selling a knife and shipping it, that's how I wrap it up. That's how I package it. You should take your time to package properly. And I don't know if everybody needs to go to the extent of attaching to the inside of the box, but like when you hear about guys shipping poorly, poor packaging, it gets talked about. You hear about guys not taping the corners and that kind of thing. People talk about that. I mean, why would you skimp on tape? Tape costs like nothing. Everybody appreciates it in the community when you really take your time with shipping to do a good job with it. I appreciated that guy doing it. And like I said, it had an influence on me that sticks with me still to today. As far as this knife is concerned, let's have a look around real quick. So 2 3/4 cutting, 3-inch blade, 3 3/4 handle. Not flush at half. Nobody cares about that though. Let's see. We do have some gapping in there. There's some light coming through, but that's only with the flashlight. Let's see what we can see from the outside. Nothing crazy. A little bit there on that side only. Let's see how it looks this way when it's closed. Yeah, nothing too wild. Yeah, I totally dig this. I love the profile of this knife. I like the way this Stag is. You know, I've got other Vipers and Stag from later runs, but the Stag on those is fuller, bigger. I mean, one of them is even Fat Stag, and this is, I don't want to call this Skinny Stag, but it's just not as heavy as those other models. But I still totally dig this. I totally dig the way this looks. All the little pieces of it, the hump here, the cracks that you can't even feel with a fingernail. Yeah, I really love this knife. This knife doesn't really get carried much. I mean, it has. I mean, I wouldn't call this a safe queen. It's spent a lot of time in the pocket. It's been sharpened and carried and used. I don't have the blade all patinaed, and I don't think I did. I don't think I did it and cleaned it off. I think I just never went there with it. At this point, I don't carry it much, but it's just, I just kind of let it hang back for safekeeping. And it's not a matter of selling a knife. I don't care about that. I'm not going to sell this knife. This is just, the value of the knife to me is too high. And I'd rather just not carry it at this point. You know, sometime in the future I will, I'm sure. Let's have a look. Since we're here, what have we got on these tangs? We got Northfield Unexcelled, made in USA, and GEC Titusville Ironworks 470116. Dig it. Yeah. The early Vipers are really nice. That walk and talk, man, that's heavy. Nothing proud. Yeah, and that Stag. You know, Stag like that, I mean, it's really significant to me. It's but that's a preference thing. But for me, I mean, this is where you get into like pride of ownership and, you know, it being important, what's in the pocket, and being proud of what you're carrying. Being, you know, you take the knife out of your pocket. It's a small thing. It's a man's tool, but it's significant to me. It matters. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I see different things in the community. I've seen some guys who buy every release in ebony that comes out, and, you know, they've got like every knife in black that has been offered that way. Bone really does it for me too, if it's got really good character to it. Bone and Stag really stick out in my mind. What are your thoughts? Are there materials that are offered that really are significant to you, that get you going? You thoughts like me, or is there stuff that sticks out to you, Cocobolo or Desert Ironwood or whatever? I wanted to get this knife on the channel. I talked about this knife many videos ago, and I've wanted to get it on the channel since, but I wasn't exactly in a rush. But I felt like this was probably the right time to go ahead and do it. Go ahead and get a video made and just get it put up. What do you guys think? Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think of the whole thing, the Stag designations, and are there handle materials that are super special to you that you jump at every time? Get down in the comments, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.